Thanks for stopping back by the Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, um, or visiting for the first time, if that's the case. So, as most of you know, this channel is predominantly supposed to be about um, constitutional issues within the state of Minnesota, especially as Christians view them. The bulk of my videos tend to deal with those issues, but it hasn't been exclusively about Minnesota. So what I try to do is I try to build on different topics that are happening across the United States, sometimes in world events, world culture, world politics, and bring those to bear in a perfect storm, if you will, onto Minnesota and how things are playing out here. So in the video that I did previously, I spoke about the World Health Organization and responses to COVID-19 and how the director, the commissar of the World Health Organization, if you will, let's be honest, W.H.O. is a Marxist front. It's a medical front for a Marxist movement. But that aside, they have now started to talk about man-made climate change and how we can use what we've learned from pandemics such as COVID-19 to begin to reverse what they call man-made climate change. So that conversation started several weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. And as I said in the last video, I sat on that for a while. I didn't want to rush into it. I wanted to see if anybody else would pick it up. Sadly, no mainstream or legacy media types really wanted to talk about it. I think they were doing their best to ignore it so that most people wouldn't pay attention, which is pretty common these days. Doesn't matter if it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, or anything else. They just don't want to rock the boat. Or they, in some cases, are working very hard to hide things from their client base, from their customers, from their viewers. So this week, here in Minnesota, for what I guess it's Climate Change Week or whatever, Governor Tim Walz has issued a few statements, and on his Facebook page has put out several status updates about climate change. One no more telling than the one that was released yesterday. As of the filming of this, it is now early Saturday morning, on the 26th of September of 2020, and the governor put out a video, and in this video he uses the phrase "together as one Minnesota." Now this phrase has, I want to be really careful here because I'm not saying that "together as one" can't be used for anything else, but this phrase was popularized. It was really driven into the psyche of people over COVID-19. And it's kind of a play on, or a use of separate but together. I've heard that one. Together apart. So here we have this "together as one Minnesota," this argument for uniting together in the fight against whatever the case might be. COVID-19, racism, systematic racism, implicit bias. But now it's climate change, man-made climate change. And in the video, the governor talks about the reality of man-made climate change and the negativity that we see rising from man-made climate change. And one of the things he points to are the fires on the West Coast. Just in the United States. man-made climate change is causing fires on the west coast of the United States. No talk about the fact that in Canada those fires are unheard of, that to our neighbor to the south in Mexico those fires are unheard of. This is almost exclusively an American problem. So are we to believe that man-made climate change is only happening in the United States, Governor? And that aside, what we're seeing is the linking of events. In a previous video, I talked about the Marxist tactics of Saul Alinsky. In his book, Rules for Radicals, he basically says when you've exhausted your enemy's tolerance for a particular issue and they've gotten weary of that issue, hit them with a new one. And we saw that played out. They hit us with COVID-19. Bam, 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 over and over and over again. Lockdowns, shutdowns, essential personnel, non-essential personnel, stay-at-home orders, over and over and over again. They were hitting us with that. People started to get weary. They stopped paying attention. So then they hit us with racial disunity. Riots all over the United States. Riots especially here in the state of Minnesota. Mass protests all over the place, across the world. And so now they're going to come at us with something else. Here they're coming at us with this. And so here's the link. So as I said in the video that I released yesterday, Friday the 24th, Friday the 25th, I talked about the World Health Organization and their desire to use the tactics that were employed by despotic tyrants across the United States and other places to shut the country down, to force people into their homes, to force people to change the way they are living, period. They want to now implement that to combat climate change. Our governor is 100% on board with this. And he's just piling on over and over and over again. He's hitting us with this, he's hitting us with that. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we need this, we need that. I'm going to extend these powers until I get what I want. And we're going to increase our testing, our numbers keep going up, so we need to do more. This facial coverings thing's going to have to keep happening until the vaccine's in place. Over and over and over and over again. They just keep hitting us with this. And the undercurrent of every one of these strategic strikes is we have to do this together. 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 What they're doing there, what our governor, and he is absolutely genius at this. I'm not going to, he comes off as this very simple, down-to-earth, Minnesota, nice, oh sure, you gotta be, we gotta do this the right way, we got to do this the Minnesota way, and it's genius how he plays this. And honestly, the conservatives in Minnesota have bought into this tactic, hook, line, and sinker, because he's kind of coming off as this fumbling, bumbling, average Joe who he's just doing the best he can in the office that he's holding, and they're attacking him for being an idiot. Conservatives are attacking Governor Walz for being an idiot. They call him an idiot. They call him retarded. They call him all sorts of things. The thing is he's not. He's a genius. He's playing the Minnesota citizenry like a fiddle, and they're buying it, hook, line, and sinker. This man is not stupid. You will never hear me call him stupid. He's wickedly intelligent. He's wickedly intelligent. He is an evil genius, if you want to, think about Mike Myers movies. He's, by and large, in full control of everything that he wants control of right now. The Minnesota people aren't stopping him. They can't stop him. They can't. They can't stop him because he's got him beat down in submission. And now he's going to keep hitting us with climate change. And it's going to be something else. You watch. It's going to be something else. And I don't know how long you'll push the climate change issue, because people are catching on to the climate change thing. Governor, the climate's been changing for, well, I don't know, since creation. And I mean, really. God created the earth, created Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve fell in sin, and the climate changed. And it's been changing ever since. It's been cataclysmic changes in the earth. And so even if you're not a creationist, Governor Walz, even if you're not, let's say that you call yourself a Christian. I don't hear anything in you that would indicate that you're a Christian, Governor Walz. Anybody who supports abortion can't be Christian. You can't be a Christian and support abortion. You just can't. You can't support the radical LGBTQ agenda and be a Christian. You can't. You can't be a Christian and support the Marxist ideology of the Black Lives Matter movement. You can't be a Christian and not do something about Antifa. Yeah, I'm putting standards on it. I'm calling you out, Governor. You're not a Christian. But let's just say for the sake of argument, Governor Walz, you are a Christian. But you aren't a kind of Christian that really believes everything the Bible says. So you'd be an average Christian in Minnesota. Let's say that you believe that evolution is real, that God used the evolutionary process to create everything that you see. Even there, Governor, as an evolutionist, as an adherent to evolution, there's absolutely nothing that we can do that's going to destroy this earth, because we're products of the earth. We can't destroy it. Because if evolution is real, evolution is going to correct us. It's going to shrug, kind of like Atlas shrugged in the book Atlas Shrugged. And evolution's going to throw us off. The world is going to throw us off like a virus. And so, Governor, here's what I'm going to say to you. With your emphasis on what we need to do about COVID-19 and the preciousness of life, and your emphasis on the preciousness of every life, especially minorities, which they are precious, but my reasoning for saying that is far different than yours. With your emphasis on all of these things, Governor, with your emphasis on stopping man-made climate change, I'm going to ask you, why does it matter? Why does any of this matter? If we are nothing but the products of evolutionary process, Governor, who cares what happens to the earth? This is just another step in the evolutionary process. If COVID-19 is as serious as you say it is, and we're just products of evolutionary process, COVID-19 is thinning the ranks. It's thinning the herd. It's getting rid of the sick and the weak. It's going to make us better. Climate change is going to get rid of the sick and the weak. It's going to make us better. It's going to thin out the population, which is what the Marxists want. You know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg just died a week ago. She said that she's happy with the decision of Roe v. Wade because Roe v. Wade is going to allow us to thin out certain populations of undesirable people. How are you going to argue against that, Governor? Well, you wouldn't, because you're a proponent of abortion. But here's the deal. You got to stop hitting us with stuff. Because what ends up happening, Governor, is that sooner or later people catch on. Governor Walz, you're not an idiot. You're not a moron. You're not retarded, as some people I hear some people say you are. You're not at all stupid. You're dangerous. You're clever, you're intelligent, and you're wickedly, wickedly smart. You need to know. People are catching on. They're starting to notice. So the next thing I can see you doing is saying, here in Minnesota, we're going to do what we need to do to affect man-made climate change. And that might mean some sacrifices for the Minnesota people. Might have to jack up those fuel prices to keep people from driving. We might have to start limiting the amount of trips people are allowed to make. We might have to start telling people you can only go to the grocery store once every 3 weeks. We're not going to let you have more than 20 gallons of fuel every month. See, don't pretend that that isn't something you'd be willing to do to affect man-made climate change, Governor. Because you've already demonstrated that you are perfectly willing to tell us who is an essential worker in the state of Minnesota and who is not an essential worker in the state of Minnesota. Don't tell us, Governor, that you wouldn't be willing to shut down an entire economy to save the world's climate when you've already demonstrated that you're willing to destroy the entire economy of the state of Minnesota to protect us from a virus that has a 98% or better survival rate. Don't tell us you won't. Minnesotans, citizens of the state of Minnesota, it is time for you to wake up and start paying attention to things other than only the stuff that you care about. Start paying attention to how your liberties, not your freedoms, your liberties, not your rights, your liberties, your God-given liberties, have been eroded and devastated, decimated, destroyed by a governor who has his aw shucks, golly gee act down perfectly. So it's time. Governor Walz, you're bad for this state. You're bad for the economy. You're bad for the environment. You're bad for the people. You're bad for our health. You are a tyrant. You need to go. It's time for you to go. Or change. That's it. Radical change or leave. We cannot keep being played by you. And my fellow citizens, stop being played. Resist tyranny. John Knox, the great theologian and reformer of Scotland, said that resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. He is not talking about Tim Walz, but people like Tim Walz were on his mind. Sic semper tyrannis.